Get this going. Sandra, do you want to call us open here?
And all of a sudden, I have got plenty of sound.
Oh, good.
Okay.
Don't try to figure it out. You'll just get a headache.
Well, there were 3 speaker systems, and apparently I hit the wrong one. Anyway, the first thing we're calling to order is the approval of the August 21st, 2024 Advisory Committee minutes. Has everybody had a chance to look at them? And if yes, are there any amendments, changes, deletions, whatever?
I was not there, so I can't vote. I put in my earbuds to hear y'all better over the AC, and now I can't see you, so I'm going to drop out and jump right back in again and see if that solves it.
Okay.
You can
I
see
think
you.
it's one of
we can
those
see
days.
you.
Yeah, we can see you beautifully.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it, but oh, it wants me to update.
I can't
see what happens.
Since I haven't heard any changes, would somebody like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you. That was
I'll
Adam.
second.
Yes.
All right, and a second.
I'll
All
second.
those in favor? Thanks, Kim.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much.
Can
The
y'all
next
still
thing-
see me?
Yes, you're really clear, as a matter of
Okay,
fact.
then I think it's working then. Thank you.
The next thing is the 109 board update. Who's going to do that?
Yes, actually, let me share my PowerPoint here. Because I do have a picture. Oh. See that?
Yes.
All right. So hopefully, Pete, if you have any meeting summaries, some of you all might have been at this meeting, so if anybody wants to share anything, but I did want to, well, and Bob Schindler's not even here, but he's moved officially off the 109 board, and is now on the advisory committee instead as of this meeting, taking the place of Tim Darst, who is wonderful, just can't seem to make it work with his schedule. So so that is how that happened. And then as Bob Schindler moved off of the board, this was at the in-person meeting last month where Pete gave him his, what do you call that? Like a recognition certificate. Pete, do you have anything else you want to say about the board update?
Yes, several things. The first off, the replacement for Bob was a person called Brian Funk. He is a new member of the board representing unincorporated areas. We also voted on a new board chair, which is going to be Sean Killeen, and he has taken over the role as being the chair. So those 2 additions were, I believe everything's going to be great. I love that Bob was willing to stay around for the advisory committee because he's like a waste management district encyclopedia of information of things that took place in the past. So he didn't really like being called the waste district encyclopedia though. So anyway, some of the other things that I would like to show, if I could, Karen, do you have more slides or?
Not for the board update, just for when we move on to this.
Let me share my screen for just a moment, please.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, okay. So we went over the budget. One thing that we've done is, again, we've applied for literate abatement grant funds, which is typically going to be around 400,000 a year. The board approved us to do that. Another thing that we did was we had a presentation from Feed Louisville, and this was a really good presentation. And unfortunately, it's not something that they gave us that presentation so that we could share things. But really what they come down to is that they have a mission of taking food that would otherwise be going to the landfill, bringing chefs together and creating food for homeless, for shelters and the such, and which was great. And they're actually doing I don't know, it was a huge amount of tonnage, which food is heavy, so it's gonna add up pretty quick. But they need to continue their expansion, and their mission and our mission are very intertwined. And they made a request to the Waste Management District for funding to help them reach a goal of I think it's $15,000. And the board is looking at the possibility of donating up to 5,000 of that or more if they can. So it's a great organization. If you want to learn a little bit more about them, just do a search for them and you can see. Or you can go back to the presentation from the last board meeting and see it there. I think it is on our website now. Is that correct, Karen?
Yeah, it was YouTube live recorded, and sadly, the orientation's a little funky, but you can at least hear it.
Yeah, that's the bad part about meeting in person is the audio and visual is a whole lot more difficult. We announced that the state is going to be conducting or creating a new 5-year solid waste management plan. And it's been quite some time since they've done that. And they will be conducting meetings across the state. Louisville will have its own, generally going to be in October. I've not heard any of these dates as of yet. Have you heard anything, Karen?
No, she stopped responding to me. I was trying to help her with space. But...
I gotcha. But what this is, they was going to have 3-4 hour sessions with all of these different entities to get input on the next 5-year solid waste state 5-year solid waste management plan. So it'll be interesting. Once we know something, we will obviously be sharing this across our networks, because the more people that we have get involved in it, the better the plan will be, in my opinion. We did talk a little bit about the host agreement, and I won't get into a whole lot. Really comes down to whether or not that was there an agreement that was made. It's that has not been determined. I've been going back through old files, old records, trying to find if the old plan was extended. I do not believe that it was. And then what is the options there to move forward? One of the things that we did learn, and this was from Tom Fitzgerald's memos, is that the 5-year solid waste management plan was the information that was put in there was not correct. I believe we got some bad advice. And anyway, what he was saying is that people have been doing that across the state, and they're trying to rectify that with the state to make sure that it's clear on how that goes. But it all had to do with capacity. So we're still working on that, and right now it's in a research phase. We talked about our litter campaign. For those that didn't know, our It Adds Up campaign was Best of Branding and Logos from the American Institute of Graphic Arts little chapter. So I guess Field Trip gets this. We didn't see it, but it's a good thing. So it just meant that our campaign, at least it looked good. So
I think that's really impressive, because the competition would have been very stiff.
Yeah, I think we've got a really good group in Field Trip, and we're doing a lot of good stuff. excited where we've wound down this past campaign. I think that eventually I think everybody here has seen pretty much the results of that campaign and the number of people it reached. It was very successful in my mind. Karen did do a litter perception survey. I don't know if that's on this agenda or not, but that's something maybe she can share the results there. I don't think that it'll be very surprising to many people. We also talked about a program called City Detect that Codes and Regulations and Department is looking at. And this is an impressive piece of AI technology that can be connected to any vehicle with a camera. And basically you're going down the street, it's looking and detecting these things. One of the things that it was really good at, and this is some of the stuff from the city of Atlanta, you can see how it picks all this stuff up. And it's almost real time. These are the pieces of litter. We have really struggled with how do we measure if we're improving in our litter collection and prevention through our education program. So this would be a great way to measure these things. And what it would do is also give you a heat map to show you whatever it is that the measure that it's looking at, where the problems are. So we're looking at putting them on garbage trucks whenever we can get our cameras operating, police cars, ambulances, fire trucks, codes and regs, vehicles, and they'll be out all the time. And it'll always be looking to see what's going on. And information is the key here. We're going to be able to have almost real-time data on what's taking place in the community. So there's a pilot that we're looking at. SWIMS wants to be involved, but I made the ask to the board once we know if we're going to purchase this, if the board would be willing to assist in some of the funding, being that it is right up the alley of some of the stuff that we are looking for, and to be able to measure stuff. So that is one of the things that we're talking about. Another thing was the cost of services study that we've worked on has been awarded. The winner of that was Reftelis, which is actually a local organization. They've worked all over the country in doing stuff similar to this, including solid waste studies, Nashville, Memphis, Huntsville, Ontario, Panama City, and the like. So it's a long schedule to get this cost of services project done. I think the ink is drying on the contract this week, and we will be having a preliminary kickoff meeting, and that will be to their data request. And that's really what kind of gets things going. And that's going to involve a lot of GIS information, household data, locations of HOA, small cities, urban, anything and everything. And then they do their assessment and stuff. So I think we got a good vendor here. It came down to two. We would have been okay with either or. This one came in, I think it's around the 175,000 for the project, which was considerably lower than the other one. So more to come when it comes to that. We'll be updating the board soon, and we'll be getting this off the ground. Thanks to Bruce Burrow and Sumeda for all of their work and being involved in this project and selecting this vendor. I think we've got a good one, and they can comment on themselves, but I believe that they would agree. The last thing that we announced was, and I'm not sure how many people, if we announced this at this last meeting, but the Resource Recycling Conference will be in Louisville this year. And it's a big deal, and we're lucky to get it. We still don't have the agenda for this, but most everybody should have received a notice that they can sign up in the Waste District was paying for the $650 registration fee, which is quite significant, but it's a 3-day event. I think it's in November. It's not on here, but if you're still interested, let us know. I think we can still get people into this. As soon as we have an agenda, we'll also let people know, but we want to try to cover everything. And this is a really good conference. I've been to it in the past. I think Karen's been to it in the past. So a lot of great information here, leading edge stuff. So anybody that can attend, we would encourage to attend. The 109 board approved the Let's Recycle Together card that could be used by, well, I'll tell you what, I'll let Karen do that update when it comes time. Are you going to update in the meeting, or do you want to update here, Karen?
It says it's part of the meeting. We can just move on to make sure we
Okay.
cover all the other things.
And the last, we've had some new staff and promotions. Sarita Hawkins, right here, she's our new enforcement and recycling manager. Jenna McKinney, who is going to be our enforcement supervisor. Diana Tobias is our new education coordinator. That fits us too. And congratulations to Karen, as she is the new education manager, which is a new position. So education continues to grow. So I know that was a lot, and I did that pretty quick, but I think it's important because there was a lot of great information in there. And I'll be quiet unless anybody has a question.
Thank you.
Congrats, Karen.
Thank you. All right.
Congrats.
And thank you. Sumeda, I see your comment about the conference, and we can sign you up. I'll just make a
Okay,
note.
thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I also wanted to ask, it sounded like there was maybe some homework for the advisory group from the last waste district meeting when it came to food waste. Didn't they mention that they might want us to look into that in the future at some point? Looking at how we can integrate that into our plans?
To be honest with you, I don't recall that. I do know that there was some homework. Bruce Burrow kind of got his marching orders on that, but I didn't write it down. Sumeda, you could be very much right about that, but I guess it'll be in the future.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember there being a couple things, I think during the food waste and then maybe during that City Detect thing of possible research. But to be honest, I didn't go back and listen to the recording. But I do remember Bruce, it was almost like a joke because they kept asking Bruce to do stuff. Corey, do you remember something?
Yeah, well, I don't remember that, and I kept my mouth shut at the board meeting when it was discussed. It's obviously the overarching goal is feeding the people, and the next goal is diverting all that food waste. But nobody at any level ever discussed all the little single-use plastic containers that all the food is going to go into, and that's not going to be recoverable at all. Because I couldn't think of a solution, but if there's anything we could do to help brainstorm to minimize that as a third or fourth priority of the project, because that was just giving me the itchies the whole time. I'm like, keep it shut, but it was obvious.
Yes, Diana and I went there for a tour, and that was part of the discussion. She showed us what she uses and why. She was very much not, it's not their first choice in life to use single-use plastics, but
Obviously, it's not the biggest priority. They needed something dignified and clean, cheap.
Yeah, and be able to have it on the go. I just hope some of those little containers get reused. If you weren't there, they kind of remind me, if you ever get Chinese takeout, sometimes Chinese takeout does it in plastic now too, and it's like a little black container with a lid that attaches pretty good. But yeah, if I connected her with one of our No Waste ambassadors that works a lot with compostable take out things, which I know isn't always the answer if you don't have a way to compost, but might be a better solution. So I don't know if anything came of that, but that can certainly be part of our research and maybe help from the advisory committee in
At
this.
Compostable wouldn't be petroleum derived. It would be better on
Exactly.
the processing end, for sure.
Yes.
It
Yes.
would grade better at the landfill, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
In their
Yeah.
multi-meals, they used aluminum pans with plastic tops or paper tops. So that was a little better, but you know, at least it's not plastic. But yeah, we talked to her about that as well.
And I
Yeah,
think that
I
she
think my
asked for
recollection
donation
from the,
too.
oh, sorry, go ahead, Kim.
No, I was going to say, I think that she had an ask for a donation or a sponsorship, and that was also going to be looked into to see if the 109 board could actually even do that or not. Or, I'm
Yes,
sorry, the advisory.
There's two tracks that I'm working on that. One is with our purchasing department to see what those rules would be. Their initial thing was it's $5,000. It probably won't be a real big issue with it. The second part is the legal part, if waste district funds can be used in that manner. I do believe that it can, with the mission fitting the way it does. We did try to do sponsorship before, and we could not. So there was always that little pause, but the other sponsorship wasn't necessarily something that aligned mission wise. So hopefully we can. I believe we can, and I just hadn't gotten the final answer on it.
Yeah, my recollection, I think, was that the board was very impressed with that presentation. They thought that there was a big waste diversion angle to it. And I think they wanted our committee to kind of look at how that could fit in and if it's something we could support in the future. But yeah, we might have to look at the recording to recall exactly what was said.
Yeah, and on the City Detect, I don't know that there was any specific ask, but it was more there was genuine interest in doing it. I don't think that there would be any problem with us being able to spend money on something that would give us a tangible, something that we can actually look at to gauge our own performance. So that wouldn't be a bad thing. Other than that, I can't call. I know Carl Brazley with the board also talked. This is something that was brought up, I guess, in a little bit of the discussion, was the opportunity for, I guess it's technology in solid waste management and some of the things that can be investigated there. Carl is here, and I don't want to put him on the spot, but if he wants to speak to a little bit of that, please feel free to do so, Carl.
Thanks, Pete, for not putting me on the spot. No, just real quickly, I talked to Pete and Karen a little while ago about the possibility of us having maybe a group that looks at technology and to investigate things like that were presented to us the other day that I thought was awesome. But also, I know there's several other opportunities that might be advantageous for us to at least have, some understanding of, for us to consider and to see what we could take advantage of. And then too, there might be other opportunities that come along with that in the form of maybe grants to utilize or take advantage of some of these opportunities as well. But I just thought it might be a good idea for us to have some address to looking at some of the new technologies and how, if at all, that we would want to take advantage of them, or just to research and take a look at some of the existing things that are out there that's being presented to us. So that was about it.
Thanks, Carl. Carl is a member of the 109 board, if anybody didn't know. Any other questions? Awesome.
I was going to make a comment, but I really can't see what you all can see. Anyway, we did a lot of research on paper trays for food service, and we found products that were available in Louisville for like a couple of pennies extra. The problem is they don't have lids. So I don't think it's going to work for these folks.
Yeah, in their case, they do hand them out kind of on the go.
Right. They
But
need
yeah.
to stack them.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, there are, I mean, they're not as, yeah. When you think about Chipotle, I mean, they're pretty good. I don't think there's any plastic really except for the forks and stuff. So there might be some options. And yes, tomato, plant-based lids. Yep.
Yeah, as long as it's not too hot, you can do that.
Okay, anything else about the board update? Are we ready to move on to contracts?
Sure. That sounds good to me. Pete, I do have that PDF. Did everybody, I put it in an email, as far as another document was the scope of services for the capture rate study. I have it pulled up. Pete, do you want me to share that? Oh, you're muted.
Did we lose a lot of people, or did my screen suddenly just change? Only see 6 people now.
No, your screen
There's-
must have changed.
Yeah, it must be your screen.
Okay. Okay.
Someone left. I'm not sure who.
Okay. Are you sharing right now, Karen?
No, I can. I was just checking it. Here we go. Oh, that was real quick. Since Pete talked about it, I'll just show you real quick and I can email this. I totally forgot I made it, but he mentioned we did the litter perception survey. So I made this little graphic to show the responses, which for the most part aren't super surprising. I'll email that out to you guys so you can look. But we had over 1,000 people take the survey all over the county. I did have a zip code map done just to make sure we weren't heavy in one area of Louisville or something. But 92% agree that it's a major or severe problem. So there's that. And then keeping in mind, this is perceptions. This is what people think. So where they think the most litter is, why people might litter, and if they think people litter accidentally or on purpose or both, how it might impact things like quality of life, crime, property values, and whether or not you've seen or heard messaging about litter. I put that on there just because we've been doing these campaigns and I would like to do a perception survey again, to see if anything changes over time as we do more of our campaigns and more work toward cleaning up. So, and then how often do you see people picking up litter, which people often see people picking up litter, so that's good. But anyway, I won't take up too much time with that. I'll just send it to you all so you can see.
If I could, Karen, if
yep.
you can go back to it real quick. I just wanted to make a little bit of an observation on here. And one, I think people litter, and the 62% that believe that it's on purpose runs totally counter to what Keep America Beautiful observational studies showed that was across the country. If I'm not mistaken, it showed that only about 4% of people actually litter on purpose. So to me, that tells us that a lot of people don't realize that they're littering, and it's their actions that, the stuff in the back of their pickup truck or whatever that is causing a lot of it. So I found that was pretty interesting, the perception versus what has been found by observational studies, and what that can mean for our education in the future. I thought it was interesting. The other part I think that was really good was the number of people that see us out there cleaning. And I think that that's encouraging. I wouldn't have thought that it would have been that high, but it was. So Karen, can you tell me when this survey was taken? What
April.
April of this year? That so
Uh-huh.
it was before our new education campaign
Yes.
was released. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I
don't
mean,
know how-
I have to take issue with the Keep America Beautiful people, which to me is an organization that runs interference against bottle bills and taxes and that they don't want to pay on their products. But I mean, I can't, a person who I see their arm go out the window, that's not an accident, you know? Yes, I occasionally see something coming out of the back of a pickup truck, but I don't believe at all that only 1%, that 1%, I could believe 1% is accident, but I don't agree with Keep America Beautiful that hardly anybody does it on purpose. They need to be out on the streets.
I agree. They have an agenda. And Pete, I wish you
Right.
would check your sources and let us know what, how they did the study or something like that. But I'd be hesitant to quote them. Yes.
It's been a bit, but I would.
Let's not waste time on it, but let's, at some point, if you want to send how you got it or something like that. But I don't think it's worth our time now. I'm just adding to Sarah Lynn's. So let's keep going.
Okay.
It's a waste of time to talk about them.
Well, yeah, we can, they have some studies and we
I
can
just
certainly
don't
look
want
at
us to, I just don't want us to design an education program based upon bad data. That's all.
I just
Certainly.
have a question, if that's okay.
Yep.
92% of people think Louisville litter is a major or severe problem. How can you tell me the categories for that? Like, is major or severe, is that one choice or is that two choices?
Those were two different choices added up. So they were
Okay.
the top two. It was, let me see if I can't find it real quick, but I think it was like not a problem. Hang on. Oh, sorry, I just opened the exact same thing again.
You can send, I don't want to take the time either if you're going to send it
Yeah.
around. I just,
Yeah, and if you're
whatever you send around
interested-
doesn't have a copy of the actual questions. I would like to see the results by the breakdown of what people said there. You know, no problem, major, severe, or whatever, just to understand it. But I mean, that is if you're an elected official, if you're somebody that's doing it, like, you know, that is, you know, put that on your board.
Yeah. Yes. So it was like not a problem, a not so bad problem. I can't remember the words I used, but it was I think it was 4 or 5 choices, might be just 4, but those were the top 2 and I just added them up. But Brandon, I'll send everybody kind of this graphic because I just pulled some of what I thought was the most, I guess, easy to present kind of data and telling. But I can certainly remind everyone what those questions were. And then, of course, if you want full data, it's available. And Jerry, I think, made a chat question about the responses. It's 1,136 surveys that we got back, which I did have our GIS staff person put the zip codes on a map because I wanted to make sure that we weren't getting somehow responses heavy in one area over another. So it was pretty well spread out, but I have that as well. So thanks, Pete, for reminding me that I did that, and I totally forgot. So yeah, I've got a note to send all of that out, and if you want any more of the details, it's here. So moving back to the agenda, Pete, this is the document that you had sent that is the scope of services for our capture rate study.
Yes, so we brought this back because it was a little bit different than what we had originally planned. The price of this was much higher, and they have reformulated this. I just wanted to get it back in front of people to see if there was any questions. It was disseminated before the meeting. And offhand, I'm not sure how many people read it, but offhand, is there any concerns that anybody found? We will be taking it back to the 109 board as well. But that's basically why I did want it to be here. And if anybody doesn't remember, the capture rate study was looking at 3 distinct areas to see what is getting recycled and what is being missed and what that item is, and hopefully to be able to get household level data that would help form our education services in the future. Other cities have done this to some success. Denver was one, and you would have thought that cardboard would have been the thing to focus on when they found out that it was aluminum cans. Who would have thought? So that geared them towards how they was going to do their education programs, and it made a big difference for them. So that is what this was about, and I just wanted to get it back in front of you guys if there was any questions.
I had a couple of questions, especially on the first page where we've got the 3 different sampling options, or I guess the other way, the USD is not a problem, but when you get into organized and open, my question with the organized is, it looked to me like this was all of the home rule cities, and they all don't do trash collection, period. Whether it's recycling or just trash, they're not consistent. And I wondered if that didn't also apply to the open area.
Right. So I think that the vendor here showed the general service areas, not necessarily the exact where we would take from all of these. It would be a targeted sampling. So we would identify an area that would be correct. If it's an HOA, a home rule city, we would want to make sure that that home rule city actually is doing the services and how they're doing. So they wouldn't be going out blindly collecting samples. It would be targeted. The same with the subscription area, so that we're going to, especially the subscription area, we're going to have to really target that, because otherwise we would be searching for forever.
Yeah, that was my concern. And the other part is, you're talking about just doing 150 single families, and yet there are thousands of them. And so if you're not careful on how they're selected, the data is very small compared to the size of the whole community.
It is, I agree with that, but I think that our goal here was to measure certain segments, and that we will be able to target those to find out what we need. And 150 is actually, when you start to look at, we're not just sampling the trash or recycling, we're targeting them both. So 150 is
300
is more than that. But I believe that for our data purposes, if we go much bigger, the costs go way up. And will this be adequate for us to be able to learn what we need to learn? I do believe that it will give us what we need. People disagree with that. I understand. And we can revisit it.
Thank you.
Any other questions regarding this? Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Is there any more on the capture rate study? And if not, Karen, do you want to go on to the education?
Sure. I was going to share. Think. All right, do you all see the PowerPoint again?
Yes.
Okay. So basically I was just going to report that I guess it was on September 5th, I believe, we had a meeting held through the NWRA and Bob Lee and the team over there, I guess, helped kind of set that up. And so I shared this info card that was agreed upon by the board that it's good to go as far as a consistent message for recyclers in Louisville. We also had a discussion on that call a little bit more about contamination issues and how different haulers might combat that, and what that might, making efforts, what that might mean for contracts with the MRF. But really, my goal for that meeting had more to do with this card and getting information out to recyclers through the waste haulers and having it be consistent and clearly a message for anyone in Louisville. So that was the idea with this, and I know I've shared this card before. The only thing I added since the last time we were on together was this website, which, to be honest, is not live at this point because I still have some editing to do on it, but it's going to be it's under the Waste District website, and it'll have, plenty of information that would be clear and helpful for anyone living in the entire county. So with some links, kind of like we did with the Clean Together campaign, with some links to private haulers' websites as well, which is nice. And then the other side of the card has all of those things that we don't want, Recycle Coach, and then this is all true for pretty much anyone. I think we've said some small cities might have some different specific rules about bringing parts in or bringing them back, but that kind of thing we can always edit if there is a group that we want to maybe add a logo or tweak it just a little for more specific. And I think Sandra has been in contact with the Jefferson County League of Cities, trying to get this in front of some of them as well. Do you have anything else on that, Sandra? I'm gonna go ahead and stop.
The other thing, we've sent this out. I haven't gotten any feedback yet, but we've sent it out. And basically, my personal opinion is that in the beginning, we're not going to get much response because people tend not to look at things like this. On the other hand, we're getting a lot of cooperation, and we have one city that's volunteered to be, if you're going to go to that next, the guinea pig for the OOPS tags. So we're moving.
Yes. So we will be able to do that. We've gone through haulers in our other cases. We've gone through haulers picking a route that we can do our OOPS tag recycle right program with. But in this case, a small city, rural city that wants to do it. So, so yeah, we just need to make that connection. And I think, Sandra, isn't it true that she wants to have the info card out first?
After that, it wasn't just the info card. It was, we had a board member who lives in the Urban Services District who got oopsed. And after listening to him and what his neighbors thought and everything else, it became apparent that there really would be a benefit to an initial education. The Guinea Pig City has volunteered to put things in their newsletter for a couple of months in advance so that people know it's coming. And everybody seemed to think that that was a very good idea rather than just do the tags. Because when you don't know what they are, they can be interpreted, even the yellow one can be interpreted like, oh my gosh, I'm doing something wrong, instead of what our goal is, which is to help them do something right. Anyway,
Yes.
we're getting there.
Yes, so we do get some, it's not a lot, but we do get some feedback from residents that call us kind of in a panic or maybe in a frustration, thinking that we're not picking up their recycling. And I have to clarify, no, the only ones we're not picking up are the red tags. And that means, like, for example, was it Monday? It was full of just grass clippings. I mean, Kim doesn't want that at West Rock. So yeah. But anyway, some people think, well, we need to be told first that this is happening. But at the same time, you know, your first tag is also educational. And we want to go back and see that it improves. So either way works. I'm totally fine with trying to do some education with the group that has a newsletter and things like that. Totally fine. So yeah, we're excited to partner with that. And hopefully some other contracted areas, whether it's HOAs or other small cities, will follow suit and want to do similar programming. So I think it's all positive, you know, for our message of recycling and recycling better.
Karen, can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any kind of tracking? My neighbor got one as well, and I noticed that they left it on their container. Like, so it hung there for quite some time, even to the next time they put the container out. So I wondered if there's any tracking or notes that still here.
Like the tag was still left there.
Yeah,
you know,
because I wonder, you would think it's very obvious and noticeable, but just in case it's not to everybody.
I don't know, you know, that's a good question for our part-time workers. They haven't, and Diane, you can help me. You're there. Yeah. If it's ever said anything recently. But we can give them a direction. I think when we piloted, if there was still a tag, I may have replaced it, taken it off and put a new one on, or put it right over top of it. I can't remember, because at that time we were still taping. But anyway, but yeah, we can find out. And we have a dashboard. The data is put in by address, and then what they saw, and what color tag was given. And I have them taking pictures if they're choosing the large item Tangler category, because that's kind of broad, and I'm always curious what in the world people are doing. And I sometimes use things that they as direct special no waste social media posts. But yeah, we'd have to ask them about if they're just adding another tag, or if they notice that a lot.
Eventually gone, but
Oh, is that me? Kim froze for
No,
me.
she's froze.
Okay, sorry, Kim, you froze.
If they had a green tag and they get another green tag, we just leave the same green tag on there.
Oh, I see. Yeah, no reason to use another.
Change it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Did anyone else have any other questions about the educational stuff?
Did you have anything else, Karen?
I don't have any other slides. Sorry, my screens are being weird. I don't have any other slides or anything. So I just was basically reporting about that we did have that meeting with haulers. I emailed everybody the final draft digitally, because Todd from Republic, for example, asked if it's easier on them. He mentioned that adding a tag to a cart might prove to be difficult because they have a contracted company doing that work for them. And he just asked if they could also be sending some of this stuff digitally. Of course, either or both is totally fine. So I sent that out. And I'm just going to keep in contact with the haulers to try to, you know, keep on knowing if any of this is actually being put out there. Now, I don't want it put out just yet because I'm working on that website. But I'll also let you know that the QR codes, I have a subscription now to a QR code website. So those codes will be tracked. So I'll know how much scanning we get on our ones. So that'll be one of my newer ones that we'll know if people are using it or not for the website. So that's pretty much all I had.
Well, thank you. There is no staff update. Is there any public input? Is there anybody out there who would like to say anything to us? All right, then the only thing we've got left are the announcements. The next board meeting is September 25th, 5:30 to 7. It's virtual. The next advisory committee is Wednesday, October 16th, 4:30 to 6. Is that also virtual?
Yes.
Okay. And then there is a Kentucky Composting Conference, October 17th and 18th. Have you sent anything out on that?
No, I just today added that as and then or maybe I did it on when I sent this out, but I added it as an announcement. I have this picture of the flyer, and I'll also email that to you all in case you want to share that with anyone you know. I've only now met this Jean Bonital on a WebEx call, but she is apparently super knowledgeable when it comes to composting. So great.
Do you know what it costs?
Yep, it's $35. And then so you know it's a pretty affordable one. It is on U of L's campus. So unless you use the bus system or something, you may have to pay to park around there. But I will send that out so that you can also see the agenda, see if it's interesting to you, or please share with anyone in your circles that you think might be interested in that.
Thank you.
And then Pete had talked about the Resource Recycling Conference in November already. I have several members already signed up for it. I know Sumeda wants to be added to that. And if anyone else decides at some point that you think you can go, the board had approved funding for that because that's a much more expensive one.
I think you must have signed me up because I'm getting almost weekly things.
Oh, okay. I think
Which
I
is
did sign
fine.
you up.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. Well, that's it. I'll take a motion to adjourn. Would
I'll make a
anybody like-
motion.
Oh, thank you, Sumeda. A second?
No second.
I'll second.
Okay, I think Adam beat you by a hair, Kim. Anyway, thank you very much. All those in favor of adjourning.
Aye.
All right, thank you. See you next month.
Bye.
Thanks,
See you all.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye all.